In the match to decide the 2006 champion, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal went toe-to-toe for over 5 hours in a contest that firmly established the burgeoning rivalry between the two men.
Nicely done. It's too good. It's Federer who's terrific response from the defending champion. It's too good. And that's an excellent response. That's good stuff. Brilliant get from Federer midway through that rally, but sensational tennis. Exceptionally good tennis from Federer. Perfect. And there it is. He had to win the point twice, but winning he did. A flawless tiebreak.
There should be no problems with the weather. Must have taken quite a bit out of him, that opening set, Federer mentally, so in some ways perhaps nice to just get a returning game under your belt to get yourself into this second set. And it will be the defending champion to start set number 2.
Well, Nadal certainly has another gear. I think he's realized that he'll have to produce a little more aggressive tennis with Federer in this kind of form today, and that forehand an indication that perhaps he's going to go for a little more.
And the right play for Federer to take on that second serve. Such was the intensity of that opening set for all the way through. There's no surprise there's a little bit of a lull right now. Well, it didn't last for long, did it? Nadal with his first love service game, and a little treat for the crowd through the legs.
That's a good time to try it, isn't it, when you're up 40-love? I remember the Australian Open a year ago when Federer had a match point against Marat Safin and played a shot between his legs. Of course, he ended up losing the point and losing the match. This time, Nadal wins the point.
Well, I said there might be a bit of a lull, and probably more from the crowd than it will be Nadal. As you can see, he's already jogging around, eager to get on with it. And these are perhaps the most dangerous moments for Federer as well. Even in Monte Carlo, early on in the set when he got up a break in the fourth, he quite quickly handed it back, and I think it's very hard for him to just maintain the concentration that it takes to produce the sort of tennis he needs to beat Nadal. Won't be any panic yet for Nadal. When you think back to some of the finals he played, you said, Leaf, he was 3-love down, almost 4-love down in the 5th set here last year. He was 2 sets to love down in the final in Madrid last year to Ivan Ljubicic, and 2-love down in the 5th set there, a breakdown indoors against one of the world's best servers, and he still managed to find a way to win that.
Well, Nadal is opening up a little more here in the second set. No doubt about it. He's driving the ball as opposed to just rolling it back with spin. And although he's misfired, I think it's a sign that he's adjusting his tactics slightly.
Well, it was an interesting approach shot. It was almost slow enough for him to take up such a good position at net that there wasn't that much room in some ways for Nadal to see a way past Federer. And it's one game all.
Yeah, and again, Nadal was pretty much standing over there in the backhand corner, but Federer said, okay, you've got to beat me with the backhand. He did not want to attack the forehand. I think he knows what awaits him over there.
It's almost like a jog for Nadal, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't a bad change-up from Federer.
Yeah, he's on a wonderful first step. So powerful. Looked like a good drop shot, and it was, but not good enough for this man.
Well, a lot of players now trying to start off the rallies against Federer into that backhand wing, and saw it with now Banyan yesterday with the right hander just slicing it in there to get that return sort of straight back up the middle. And again today, Nadal angling the majority of his first serves into that backhand. So 8 points in a row to start off this second set on serve for Nadal. Couldn't be more comfortable. 2-1. So a few Federer fans in the crowd, and quite a few Nadal ones as well. It's evenly split, and you would expect the crowd's loyalties perhaps just to start swinging towards the Spaniard. In the start they were all behind Roger, hoping that he was going to make a match of this, and he has certainly done that.
Thanks, brother.
His margins are quite small against Nadal. He actually hits most of his winners with quite a high margin for error, Federer, with the spin that he puts on it, but against Nadal that margin comes down considerably. And really exploiting where Nadal stands on the court there with that serve.
And I think he could do more of that. But having said that, Nadal anticipates that play from a right-hander. He sees it early and can surprise you. So you have to use it at the right times. Well, there are times in Federer's match with Almagro and times against Nalbandian where his first serve bailed him out of trouble. It's been an effective weapon for him here this week.
And Federer has only dropped just 2 points against his serve early on in this second set, so an encouraging start for him on serve still. And the world number one going to his bag for Anure. A lot of the time you see him actually get a racket out before one game before the new balls comes, but this time he's actually taken the racket out after he's served.
And these players are so skilled and they have such an intimate relationship with their racket and the strings and the tension. Those strings drop a half a pound of tension and they're aware of it. So clearly he felt like that service game, although the serve came off the strings nicely, he needed to tighten it up for the ground strokes here on the return.
Same company that strings Roger Federer's rackets. It strings Tim Hemmons, travel around the world to the Master Series and to the 4 Grand Slams. Off the tape. It's the same string company, people that Pete Sampras used to use, Nate Ferguson and Ron Yu. Nothing left to chance for these top guys.
I thought he broke a string, and I was not even sure he was aware of that. He was so concentrating on the shot.
It's 10 points in a row in this set and 13 overall now on serve for Nadal. Of course, I completely forgotten about the tie break, so that didn't really count, so we'll go back. 11 points in a row.
Well, either way, it's a certain nice turn for Nadal, isn't it? That he's been so dominant on serve. But remember, all it takes is one good return game, and this match can change quickly.
Earlier in the day that Leith and I were donning our anoraks and looking at some of Ball's sensational statistics, and one of them that stood out was he won 19 consecutive service points against McEnroe in that 1980 Wimbledon final.
Yeah, they're amazing. He's one of the most amazing players of all time. Of course, it wasn't bad the 33 Davis Cup matches in a row either before retiring.
3 consecutive service games for Nadal. 3-2 he leads. Such a historical event, the Italian Open. So many great champions have passed, but not always a great indicator of who's going to win the French Open in recent years. Nadal obviously did it last year, did the double here in Rome, and then you had to go back to Gustavo Kuerten in 2001 here in Rome, and then at the French Open, and then all the way back to Wilander in '88 and Lendl in '87. So for the entire 90s, it wasn't a really good litmus test of who was going to win in Paris.
Well, this amazing run by Nadal, it's created a wonderful trivia question. It's made a Russian fairly famous over the last year or so with this clay court streak. Who was the last player to beat Nadal on clay? Yeah, that's too good. Of course, the other famous tennis player will be the man who stops the streak. And, of course, Federer trying to make that happen today. Mark, you know who that Russian is who last beat Federer in Valencia in 2005. Excuse me, beat Nadal, yes.
Yeah, Igor Andreev, who unfortunately is out of the French Open with a knee injury. What a year he had in 2005. In the same way that Ilie Nastase was made famous for stopping the run with Guillermo Vilas, but in slightly strange circumstances.
Yeah, Aix-en-Provence, in the middle of the match, he retired. Just unhappy with the equipment that Nastase was using.
Federer delivering a love service game of his own, and Nastase had that spaghetti string.
Yeah, it actually had, you have two bands of string interwoven, and immediately after that tournament they outlawed that stringing technology or technique, and of course Vilas went on a 23-match win streak after that. So had he not retired and somehow gotten past Nastase, it could have been a 76-match win streak. Great year for Vilas, 1977, when all that good stuff happened. There's Vilas with a house in Thailand. He was asked about this run. He said Nadal will probably break it. Now, there have been moments today when Nadal has produced unforced errors that are uncharacteristic. I don't think we've seen him play his best tennis yet. Certainly it's been a high standard, but as he said, I have yet to find my top. I guess he feels that his growth and his improvement as a player is limitless.
Oh, how was that weather? The mini cyclone just blew through the 4-0 cap.
You can see it. You can see his jersey moving, and look at the people behind him covering their faces from the clay flying in the air.
I think you could have taken it above 100 miles an hour if you'd have hit a serve with that gust. Well, he's got him rattled at the moment, there's no doubt, Federer. And as you said, Leif, he looked as though he was going to be a little bit more aggressive at the start of this second set, but that hasn't really materialized. Don't think Federer can blame the elements for that one.
And almost the kind of serve that required a nice heavy underspin. Boy, that's tough to play a flicky backhand up high like that. Meeting topspin with topspin, very tough.
Halfway through this second set, and this is a huge point for both players. Well, that's one of the best outswinging serves I think I've seen, and I think it got a little bit of the line which aided it. And in fact, Nadal just apologising for that. Couldn't make anything happen there. 15-30, a little bit of a let off for Nadal. He's still not found, as he said earlier, his top. He's in front, 4-3. Look at Rafael Nadal's racket and strings, and one of the few players that doesn't use one of the leading brands of synthetic strings on there that came on about sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Always use that string that he has. It's not necessarily one of the best strings on the tour, but hey, when you're as strong as Nadal, it doesn't seem to matter. He likes to feel, and it served him well.
Yeah, he really wants a string that's durable, because he plays with so much spin, and a lot of times on clay where it'll wear away at the string. It's got piano wire in there. Well, Federer said in his semifinal against Nalbandian, which was a very tight match, the fact that he was ahead in the score, a big factor in that final set. Here he is playing behind in the second. It's a little different bit of pressure, always having to serve to catch up.
Oh, that's a wonderful shot, and not easy to produce from up there and out wide. And also against a man like Nadal, who so often just chases this down. Federer has held serve pretty comfortably today, apart from the once that he got broken in the first set, once he had actually achieved a break of serve against Nadal. But all of a sudden, it's Federer going on a run of service points held. That's 11 in total now for the world number one. And that just alleviating the pressure in his own service games, but also allowing him a little bit of time to relax and then really get his teeth into Nadal's serve.
Yeah, this really is a big moment. You almost would like to see from Federer a little bit of that passion, some energy, you know, get himself up to that gear that is required to make the breakthrough. Of course, you always can expect Nadal to have that passion. But perhaps, you know, Federer needs to do something a little bit more here, just to send those signals and get the body moving. Well, there's a point in a rally where you sense that you're in trouble and you can't go back to just staying on even terms, that you need to go for something big. And Federer that time sensing that he was in a bit of trouble out there on the forehand wing.
bad bounce in a game that Federer really wanted to try and achieve something in the opening 2 points of it, to put some pressure on. It hasn't happened at all. Bar the one little wobble that Nadal had on his serve, at down 15-30 in the previous game, both men have been clinical on serve in this second set, and you can see that's reflected in those first serve points one statistic. And a third love service game for Nadal right at the end of the second set to push the pressure back on Federer. 5-4. It's a real art managing yourself over 5 sets, and Nadal, perhaps more than any other teenager in the past, has understood how to go with the flow, if you like, and know when to really step it up on the intensity level, and when to sort of just being able to sort of back off and cruise through a match. And right now he knows this is the moment he wants to strike.
He likes to keep that baseline tidy. His many rituals before he begins play. Always meticulous about his socks.
Well, wanting to do something and actually getting it done is proving to be a bit of a problem for Nadal in this second set on the return. Federer forcing Nadal to make one of the longest runs that you can on a tennis court.
We talked a little bit about Federer having these difficult matches prior to this championship. And I'm wondering whether Nadal, he's had some very easy matches where he hasn't been challenged. An advantage for either player, you think?
Yeah, easy in the end, and no, Nadal responds with a drop shot of his own. And I think, going back to your point, Leif, I think in some ways, yeah, I think maybe it has been a little bit of advantage for Federer, because he's had to come through some clutch points already in a couple of matches, so therefore he's already tuned into them.
Yeah, it's, you know, he manages those important moments better because he's had to face more of them. Of course, the disadvantage would be the fatigue factor.
Well, the backhand cross for me has been a bit of a revelation for Federer today, and I mean, he really struggled in Monte Carlo to hurt Nadal with that particular shot. And whether that's partly the surface or he's just got a little bit more on it today, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's Tony Roach saying, hey, mate, you've got to take that ball on the rise. You've got to get your body weight on that to change the direction and play through that heavy spin.
turning into Federer's toughest service game of the second set, yet to be taken to 30. He's pushed it wide, and Nadal, when he gets the opportunity, just asking the question of Federer's volleys or half volleys. And the first time in a match that Federer's been taking a deuce on serve.
And it's so difficult to play a half volley on clay. Nadal making that forehand dip at Federer's feet.
Well, an extraordinary shot miss, call it what you want, bad bounce, but what a moment for it to happen. An anxious Tony Roach, as well he might be. Out of the blue, set point Nadal to level it up. A lunge and volley from Federer. The set on the line.
Oh, what a play. How he found an outside edge and was able to control it enough. This looked like a good enough volley, but then he had to come up with this. He knows it. Saved him the set.
Not even Nadal can drag that in. Royal approval for Federer to escape from that game.
Wasn't it funny, Mark? We were just saying moments ago how this set had been a bit unspectacular. Then a couple of points, Federer looking to cruise at 40-15. Boy, suddenly down set points. It was getting very tense. And you can hear it in this crowd here at the Foro Italico.
And do you think there is some merit in tennis perhaps looking at changing its scoring system to go to 4 games? Because, again, it's a big moment. It's end of the set. The first 6 games of this set, although good, didn't have the same bite to them. But a shorter set would create those moments a little sooner.
Yeah, I'd hate to do it. I think this championship format is just ask the most of these players, and they need to deliver to do it.
Doesn't usually dwell on missed opportunities. You wonder whether he's just starting to feel as though this isn't going to be his day. You feel that thought has never entered Nadal's mind.
Well, Nadal is a real grinder from the back of the court, but behind him the score, suddenly he just accelerates his forehand, dictates play, and here he uses his speed, and he's got some finishing touches at the net. Watch this acceleration. Zip. And equally as fast to the net. Now these men are so skilled. Nadal putting that ball right on the line, a ginormous point. 5-all, 15-all, and he draws the line.
Anything short of a length, and that one obviously mishit by Federer, punished by Nadal. Federer can't hook it back in, and Nadal, who's dropped just 5 points on serve this set, leads 6-5. As excited as this crowd is, there's almost a collective holding of breath at the moment just to see which way this match is going to tilt. Is it going to go firmly in Federer's favour, 2 sets to love up, and a chance of getting some revenge over the teenage prodigy, or is Nadal going to be able to square things up at 7 apiece, and all the hard work, all the energy that Federer's invested in almost 2 hours in this final is going to come back to leave him at all level? Monaco under the spotlight here to find the mark, which he does. It's in.
Well, tense moments for the players, but tense moments also for the linesmen and lineswomen who have to deal with difficult calls like that. So Grillotti wisely out of the chair to overrule.
And another phenomenal stretch by Federer.
Yeah, he's so loose, isn't he? So limber that he can make these lunges even when his feet aren't really there. I mean, look at the stretch and the slide simultaneously.
And you almost feel that in the opening couple of games when he came in and Nadal passed him up the line, he sort of let him have those couple, and when it's come to the big points, he's almost been covering the line, expected Nadal to go there, which is what saved him when he was set point down.
And that's good straight ahead tennis. He used what Nadal gave him, the short return. Something of a pleasing look from Tony Roach, happy with his man's play.
That's just the 7th point Federer's lost on serve in this set. And when you consider he lost 4 of them in one game, again, an impressive stat.
It really is a different set, isn't it, from the opening set? It's really been dominant by serve.
So it's going to be another tiebreaker to decide the outcome of the second set.
Does this have the feel, Mark, of that U.S. Open final we call between Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras? A few tiebreakers played that day.
Starting to get that feel, and almost starting to feel as though this match might eclipse the length of time that Correa against Nadal was last year. The longest ever final in Open here, 5 hours and 14 minutes. Yet to win a point in the tiebreak. He lost 7-love in the opening set. He's down a mini break early on. And the forehand hasn't been as good as it's needed to be.
And in the tiebreaker, neither has his serve. He hasn't really come through with the kind of serving you need in a breaker to give you something to dominate play with.
That is brilliant. It's absolutely world class from Federer. He had to run a mile to get that slice on his forehand.
Now you've got to let the pictures tell the story here.
Well, he's shown all week that he has improved his net game and that he's very accomplished around the net, but that miss surely just down to the pressure of the moment.
And I think he sensed that Federer was making a move to that part of the court. Just snatched at the volley a little bit, and again, once he's up in the air, his security's lost. He has such a good foundation with his legs, and this is real trouble for Nadal.
Well, That's what he did there, Leith, that you were talking about earlier. They hasn't been able to do in the tiebreak, make a quality first serve and get a free point. Closes the gap to 1. It's too short from Nadal, and Federer's forehand has been in perfect working order throughout this final.
Yeah, Nadal doesn't give you many cues of his disappointment, but you could really see there that he was disappointed and trying to shake it off. And again, perhaps if the water bottles are aligned just right, his fortunes will change. Of course, this man, his uncle, has not lost faith.
So Federer extending his lead to 2 points. Well, he saw an opening not too many players would have done. But unfortunately for the world number one, he just couldn't find the target. And Nadal, who's been down a mini break twice in this second set tiebreak, is back on serve. No complaints from Federer. He knew it just travelled over Nadal's baseline. Four points apiece. And again, the baseline and Nadal just eluding Federer.
Well, suddenly Nadal's ground strokes have depth and penetration, and Federer is unable to dominate the rally. He's unable to find something that he can really sink his teeth into. And instead, he's come up with some errors, and Nadal is ahead 5-4.
it's Nadal's turn to miss. Oh no. What a moment to produce one of your worst forehands of the match. It's been so solid, so effective. And
yeah, you can't ask for a better ball. That's the one he wanted. It landed inside the service line and just not moving to the ball as quickly as he's known to move. And it cost him.
The pressure in this set telling on Federer. Nadal with his second set point. Oh, and he's won it. Extraordinary circumstances. He nearly fell over in the middle of that point, and Federer couldn't find the pass, and we're at set all. Just telling a little bit on Nadal in those opening couple of sets. Maybe not the first set, but the second set he looked a little bit dubious about himself, and right now he's one title away from Borg's record as a teenager. 16 titles the great Swede had. Nice to see some of the ball girls and boys and the likes are wearing his replica shirt that he made famous. I'm sure you had a couple of those shirts in the bag, Lee.
Oh, those were treasured items if you could find them. They were just so representative of everything Borg stood for. But I'm just mystified as to where Federer went. Those last 5 points of the breaker, he just seemed to be in command, but never played the kind of point that carried him to the tiebreaker and gave him the 4-2 advantage. He just lost that aggressive edge and stopped thinking aggressively. Whereas, to be fair, Nadal played strongly, but boy, I'd say if Federer was displaying the kind of tennis that would suggest that he was going to go 2 sets to love. You really thought he had it.
And you just wonder how much his enthusiasm for this one has sort of just been dented there, especially early on in this third set. It's going to be very important for him to recover quickly, and a little extra time it takes on clay to drag the court and water it, perhaps being beneficial here to Federer so that he can just get his mindset right again. But that is a bitter pill to swallow. You're up 4-2 in the tiebreak, and at the end of the day, I suppose most of the matches Federer plays are in his control. He's an aggressive player. He's not going to wait for his opponent to make the mistake. But he would have backed himself to have made those last couple of shots, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was stunning. And I think the crowd gasped in amazement when he hit it over the baseline. There's just a momentary delay here while they put a little water down, and that's probably going to help both players, as this court has been described by almost every player as being slippery, and I think it is a very hard court, and of course the clay over the top really can make your feet move.
Just over 2¼ hours gone for those opening couple of sets. And if Federer was feeling jaded at all after his quarter-final and semi-final, we're certainly going to find out about his fitness right now. Nadal's just given it. There's no doubt the court has helped that particular play for Federer today. It's just kept Nadal perhaps half a step back from where he was in Monte Carlo to pull off the pass.
Yeah, it really helps carry the ball through the court a little more quickly.
So it looks as though normal service will be resumed with a comfortable opening service game here for Federer in the making. Indeed it is, just a 1 point dropped. And in many ways a difficult game really for Federer to navigate after that second set.
Yeah, and I think he did a good job of it because he had a little bit of time to think about the lost tiebreaker as they watered the court. We talked about the disappointment, but we also can't forget that Federer had a set point. And that was at, actually no, it was Nadal who had the set point at 5-4. So Federer had to feel like, geez, I've survived this moment. Here I am in a winning position. 2 sets to love lead potentially, and instead, now just a 2 out of 3 set match.
Nadal hasn't lost a final since he lost that one to Federer in Miami in 2005. 12 consecutive wins now for the teenager.
Yeah, and Federer owns that record, doesn't he? 24 consecutive wins in finals. So a bit of work ahead of the young Spaniard if he's to catch Federer in that regard.
Having said that, you wouldn't bet against him, would you? Just his mentality is just so strong. And again, it'd be interesting to see what he feels about, the opening couple of sets here, whether he's played as well as he has been allowed to play or as well as he would have liked to have played. The pressure off, simple forehand volley made. Just a pretty simple one at 2-1 in the tiebreaker that gave Federer an opportunity to get that lead, but he wasn't able to capitalise on it. As good as that opening game was for Federer, he must be a little deflated right now.
Yeah, and I think he knows the physical and mental challenge ahead of him. And I think he's having to come to grips with it here. And not dealing with it well in that service game. Not finding his best tennis, and it really has been a long time now where before either man really has mounted a sustained challenge against the other's service game.
Yeah, the one game that you mentioned in the second set was the only one that was even remotely close. And yeah, it is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, Nadal serving a very healthy 82% of first serves in, obviously not allowing Federer too many opportunities to chip charge on the second serve and make something happen. So he's managed his own service games well, protected them well, and they're just putting the stencil on of his strings, or of his racket company on his strings there, I think. I hate to lose a few million from not doing that, eh, Leaf? You always found that.
Got to take care of who you got to take care of. And the return falling well too short, and Federer can snack on that pretty easily.
Such skills by both men in many ways. Nadal just to stay in the rally. And a beautiful shot there from Federer to finish it off.
Yeah, this is a remarkable feat of prestidigitation.
Not as remarkable as you saying it.
The fact that I could get that word out was remarkable, yeah. I'm not really sure what it means, but it sounds good.
A bit of aggression off the return there for Nadal, trying to get something happening.
Just not moving explosively in that exchange. A little late to cover the forehand. And the backhand was mishit. So Nadal pushed the man around.
Well, it's his go-to play. And he got the reply he was looking for, Federer, but once again, he cannot bring the forehand to bear. They've both been fairly stingy with the break points they've offered up, but here's one for Nadal. He needed a big forehand. He needed one in the second set, and he couldn't produce it, but he did there. And he went to the fatter part of the court, the safer shot in many ways.
And he really bellowed out after that point. And he's having to dig deep here. You sense that he's just down a little bit mentally. He's having to find it deep inside him, find a way through. Well, that time he came in on the right ball, didn't he? Had he come in a shot earlier, it would have been a very tricky volley indeed. And instead, he got on top of the forehand volley and really gave it some extra juice.
This time the world #1 extricates himself from a difficult situation. A big moment early in the third. Federer hangs on, 2-1. So a little moment early in the third set just to whet the appetite of the spectators and get them fully engaged in this third set. I'm a Federer fan, but probably less said about that the better.
Well, one tennis fan here in Rome was said that the new Pope just met the new God, and I think he was referring to Roger Federer visiting Pope Benedict, and someone said, well, you mean Raphael? And he goes, no, I'm Swiss. Federer is the tennis god. And he had an audience with the Pope.
Federer's meeting with the Pope was on Wednesday of this week, Wednesday morning. The new Pope, of course, German, and Federer skilled in many languages as well as his tennis. Miroslava Babranek went along with him, and then he dispatched of Petito Starachi in the evening.
Yeah, that must have been a nice piece of divine inspiration, a chance to meet with the Pope. There's a tradition here that many of the players have that wonderful opportunity to do so.
And seeing as Federer himself is a Catholic, then quite appropriate as well. This is Nadal's mini city within Rome. He's at the moment attempting to not allow Federer to breach his defences.
Well, two good points from Federer, and the difference in those exchanges was he committed to the backhand. Really drove the backhand aggressively. And I think that's something that he lost in the tiebreaker, was thinking aggressively. Because then you begin to play in that aggressive framework that won him the opening set.
Unable to do enough. Right shot from Federer when he got there.
Yeah, just it's a difficult play. Nadal covers the court so well. I mean, you're always safe going down the line because at least you're in the right position to volley. Excellent movement.
He was pressing, but unfortunately again it came to nothing for Federer. And what's your feeling on drop shot, the drop shot, for somebody like Federer against Nadal?
Yeah, I think it's a good play. We haven't really seen him use it with great success. He had some success early on. But anything to take Nadal out of that comfortable side-to-side rhythm. He really enjoys that. Of course, when you are drop shot, oftentimes the best reply is a drop shot back.
We haven't seen Federer explore the serve and volley too much, but there was a little shout out from the crowd there, and I think it may have thrown Federer off. And that's one of the reasons why he hasn't explored the serve and volley too much. Well, we saw Federer in very uncharacteristic mood yesterday, slamming his racket down into the court, playing against Nalbandian. And as Nalbandian said afterwards, when asked about it, he said, hey, he's only human. And again here today, just getting his feathers ruffled a little bit. He just makes the ground so easy, but again, I think it was a safe drop shot in many ways from Federer.
Yeah, tactically it's a sound play, but once you get the ball up that high, when Nadal gets the ball, he's got a few options now. And I think even though Federer was leaning that way, he had no chance to cover. What a big point right here.
And all of a sudden, the service games, which were proving to be so easy in the second set for both players, becoming very uncomfortable. And for a second service game in a row, Federer facing a break point. And he makes the backhand pass. And again, it's a measure of Nadal that when the moment arrived, he was able to capitalise on it. And he's a break up in the third, 3-2. It's always going to be a tall order for Federer against Nadal on a clay court. And to be honest, it's getting even tougher for him these days on a hard court. So I think Roger Federer will be thinking about the end of June, beginning of July, where he perhaps can get his revenge on Nadal on a grass court. But right now it is the Spanish teenager who has taken control of this final. Federer has been struggling, you feel, at the start of this third set with the sort of almost the magnitude of the task in front of him in terms of trying to beat him over 5 sets after losing that second set.
Yeah, it's suddenly become a longer race than perhaps he had hoped for. Well, the second set you feel would have secured his real chance, because the longer the match goes, the more the advantage you feel swings to Nadal.
He's shown everybody what he's made of over these last 3 years or so, Roger Federer. But he's going to need every bit of resolve that he has to overcome Nadal today.
Well, the last time there was a break of serve in the opening set, it was Federer who broke Nadal's serve first, but Nadal broke right back in the very next game. So Federer will need to do that here if he's going to stay even in this third set. And that's a good start if he's got comeback on his mind.
Well, suddenly when you're chasing the game and you start trying to press a little early in the rally than you'd like to, and it also puts that much more pressure on each shot that you hit. Unforced errors, I think at this stage that's a decent number compared to the winners that he's hit, and it certainly isn't the reason why he's now a break behind in this third set. He's set up, he's 4-2 up in the tiebreak in the second. You would have looked at those numbers and, you know, without the scoreboard, and probably thought that Federer would have been behind.
Yeah, and these are not good signs for Federer when he makes return errors like that. And of course, if they suddenly multiply like they have this game, then he's in real trouble. Now you're ahead in the score, you've got a little room to take a chance like that. And now Nadal's a player who really manages his risk well. Still got another chance here to get to 4-2.
Easy finish in the end. I'm not sure if Nadal thought Federer's forehand was going long. All you can say is it was just a fantastic point for Federer when he needed it.
But wouldn't you have liked to produce that forehand in the tiebreak? It was almost the exact same ball on that 7th point that he missed.
Didn't get enough on the slice, and Nadal had time to wait and actually sent Federer the wrong way to start with. It's all slipping away a little bit for Federer. And everything against a guy like Nadal measured in inches, and suddenly Federer missing where he wasn't in the first couple of sets.
Yeah, finally a moment where really he just needed to put the ball into play. Just cutting it a little close on the net court.
And he is phenomenal, isn't he? I mean, when you think back, he's the first teenager to rank #2 in the world since Becker back in 1987. Players like Nadal don't come along that often. It's a brilliant finish.
Well, Federer can't forget the fact that in the opening set, he was really doing well when he was inside the baseline. He was really dictating play, reducing that amount of time that Nadal had to react to his plays, and got to continue to do that here.
Is this where at times Federer, with the sort of body language that he gives off, which is virtually nothing, sometimes doesn't use the crowd to get himself back into the match, or try and use their energy?
Yeah, he's not that kind of player, is he? Where Nadal sort of gives that passion to the crowd and they give it back to him. Yeah, he's always been sort of a cool customer, Federer, and oftentimes when he plays, he can really take the air out of a stadium because he is so dominating and so easy with his play. Of course, Nadal instead delivers that passion, that energy, the intensity.
Well, he almost pulled off the impossible, but I think Nadal had given up on that game, down 40 love, and Federer pulls within one game. But it's a big game. He's still a breakdown, 3-4. Nadal picked up 11 titles last year, the same as Roger Federer. Quite incredibly, finishing second in the world. I mean, it's a #1 sort of year that he had in many ways, but he was a long way behind Federer in the rankings by the end of the year, and still at the moment is 3,000 points behind Roger Federer. And this is a free tournament for Federer, Rome, because he didn't play here last year.
Yeah, you almost feel it's a little unfair that he can have a year like that and finish at #2. Of course, many guys would think it was a good career. 11 titles. Of course, Federer, 37 career titles currently.
Yeah, I think Federer was 37-1 and just the 11 lost. I mean, that's a nice win-loss record.
Yeah, quick little nod that, yeah, that was a little long, or she's saying it was good. Yeah, there's the mark.
That's good, I think. Too much aggression even for Nadal to find a way past. And Federer's got to get something going quickly now.
And you like to see that willingness to attack, and even the great Rafael Nadal could not come up with the magic on the pass. The volley just too good. Well, Nadal certainly plays with a passion and an intensity, but it's below the surface. And it doesn't bubble over too often. But I think by his play in that opening point, you can see he's trying to make an effort to do something different. Well, not much you can do about that. And he's seen that forehand before, and there's no way you can stay away from it when he's dictating play like that.
Well, he can put together one good point, maybe two at the moment, Federer, but he just can't really string together a good game of returning. And each forehand that he misses just sort of chips away at the confidence on that shot. Well, he's hit a couple of beauties today, Nadal, down that middle, and it's not that quick, but the swing on it and off the line, it makes it impossible to return. And a pretty comprehensive service game for the 19-year-old. Interestingly, at this stage of the match, both players have won exactly the same number of points, but it's Nadal who's won the most important ones. Well, just lacking that same intensity, that little bit of energy that can carry your hand, your feel through that play. Federer taking what came to him there, the short return. Nadal should probably shake his head more at the return than the attempted pass. Well, he nearly made the run. Seventh ace for Federer, and a bit of a change up out wide there. And that's back-to-back aces for the world number one, and he's thrown himself a lifeline in this third set, but he has to break in the next game. Nadal just going through his pre-game routine here, just thinking about how he views the first point, what he's going to plan to do, and he knows how important this next game is in terms of just taking a real stranglehold over Federer. Federer 2-1 down against Nadal is going to be looking at that like an awfully long way back. He almost achieved it in Monte Carlo, losing the 4 set 7-6. But it's Nadal with a chance to move ahead by a set.
Of course, there's another of his traditions. He just has to go down to the socks before he begins the game.
Yeah. And Federer's cross-court backhand was a revelation in the first set and a half, almost 2 sets. But he just hasn't been able to be as penetrative off that wing.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same angle, does it? And it doesn't have the same zip behind it. He's not getting it through the court. Well, his feet let him down on that forehand. See, just a half step away from the ball. And as Andre Agassi says, you have to put yourself in the hitting position every time.
Federer can get nothing going in this game. He's been shut out by Nadal's solid play. And the defending champion with 3 set points. Nadal defended his Monte Carlo crown. He defended his Barcelona title. And he looks set fair to defend his Rome title as well. 2-1 to the Spaniard. 91st serves made, just 105. So again, he really minimises what he has to put in on his service games. So it's going to be up to Roger Federer to try and change the direction of this match. Nadal in the driving seat.
Well, at this stage of the match, that's a volley you have to make. Otherwise, Mr. Nadal is going to be lifting the trophy here pretty soon.
Again, at times when you watch him miss that forehand volley, there's just a little too much hand movement and it's just not solid with the racket head.
Yeah, if there is a volley that Federer struggles with, it is that forehand. And I think we saw a little of that with Pete Sampras. If you could get it to his forehand, you might find 1 or 2 more errors on that wing. Obviously, pretty solid. Tough to get to the weaker side. Well, that's the play for Federer. And you can see how tough Nadal is. It just can't put him away. You have to win the point 2 or 3 times. Well, Tony Roach knows what it's like. He was number 2 in the world when he lost to John Newcomb in the championship here one year. 1969, of course, he won it back in '66. But Newcomb took the title a few years later.
Impeccable length, and then dragging Federer off the court with the backhand, and already Nadal with an opportunity to put Federer behind in this 4th set. Just brilliant. And it's just the numbers of those that have just dried up in the last set.
Yeah, and this looks like an easy shot, but that ball's coming up with plenty of spin, and you have to create a lot of line, and your timing has to be so exact. Boy, did he get it right in the nick of time. Back to deuce.
Another chance for Nadal. And again, Federer's forehand saves the day. And again, Nadal at times today has just been hoping for the mistake, and it's eventually come, but he could have made his life perhaps a little bit easier.
Well, how many forehands does he have left in the barrel? He'll need every one of them. There's another one.
It's a huge hole, massive game for Federer.
Now, a 3 out of 5 set match has so many twists and turns. And if this is a come from behind victory for Federer, that was an important game. A couple of break points saved, and you can see Nadal so comfortable serving in to Federer's backhand. He knows that he'll be in the point. Federer's not going to be producing winners off this kind of serving pattern.
And there you can see plenty of yellow dots, not too many black dots there indicating second serves. And it would have been a worrying game for Federer to have lost, because the last time he had break points, was at 6-5 up in the first set. So for the last 2 sets, Federer unable to create one breakpoint opportunity against Nadal's serve. And just like at the start of the match, the crowd trying to get behind Federer.
Now, Federer did a good job with the attack, but once he's forced to hit one volley and then a second, and if he has to hit a third, you know he's in trouble. Softens him up here, and now he's got plenty of court to pick. Well, that time the forehand down the line worked beautifully.
And that's really the biggest problem for Federer facing Nadal, is to be able to sustain that type of hitting.
Well, that's a good aggressive play, and we're starting to see the Federer that so distinguished himself early in the match. The first sign of anything short, he was all over the Spaniard, and now he's earned himself a 15-30 position here in this game.
And that's the problem for Federer as well. Nadal can just keep going back to his back, and even though Federer knows it's coming, it's impossible for him in those sort of points to get himself out of trouble.
Yeah, when he gets his weight on top of these forehands, I mean, that ball is accelerating and it's going straight up, and you're trying to make a drive off that is very tough.
No, it's unbelievable how he can win some of those points.
Gosh, if Federer doesn't play the perfect volley, Nadal makes him pay the price. I mean, this volley right here, look at that play. So creative.
So both men surviving some pretty tense moments in their opening service games, and yet they both hang on.
Well, that was one of the better return games we've seen from Federer, showing some signs of life. But he has yet to crack the Da Vinci Code here. He just cannot seem to get past Nadal's serve.
again, that forehand, it's just not the speed of it, but the spin that just keeps running away from Federer. Well, that has just won him a hatful of points today. That first serve in, forehand big into the backhand corner.
It's really amazing that Nadal gets as many of those back as he does. He's got the two-hander. He needs to take that extra step. Another example of it there. Just couldn't quite get outside it enough to pull it back cross court.
Genius from Federer this time on the run.
This is sweet. Pretty as a picture.
Surprising change of length there from Federer, and it unsettled Nadal on his run in. And the world number one is 2-1 ahead. Fourth set. In the last couple of best of 5 set matches that these two have played, Nadal has won it in the fourth, and early indications are though that Federer has got enough game left that he could still take this one to a fifth. He has struck the ball well at the start of this fourth, and mentally, perhaps more than anything, is still showing that he's relishing the challenge of taking on the best player on clay in the world.
Yeah, I think he showed a little bit of joy, he enjoying the battle, because I think there was a time there in the third set where he was very unhappy and very discouraged. And you really have to embrace the challenge and dig deep to find your best tennis when you can.
Do you feel as though he needs to try and start the point off a little different? I mean, Nadal is very comfortable just rolling in that first serve. That's sub 100 miles an hour, that first serve into the backhand, knowing Federer's going to just hit it back up the middle and then start using his forehand. Do you think he should take a few more risks?
Yeah, you almost feel like he needs to do something different. I mean, this pattern is not a good one for the Swiss man. Now that's the kind of tennis he really needs to produce. It's interesting that, Nadal's serving almost 90% first serves, and that's a tactic that Mats Wilander, the great Swede, used to employ. Just get that first serve in, and over the course of a 5-set match, it's going to work for you. So somehow I think Federer needs to change it up, make Nadal think about that serve more. Because right now it's a winning pattern for the Spaniard.
Got it on his forehand, that return, and it was far more aggressive.
And I think even for Federer, just standing in a little closer. might make Nadal think. Imagine if Nadal missed a first serve and actually had to think about hitting a second. That could be a very small positive step.
Federer spinning his wheels at the back of the court there. And again, a 15-30 point, which Federer enjoyed in Nadal's last service game, goes by. There you can see Nadal yet to miss a first serve in this one, and Federer himself not serving quite as well in the third set, but has enjoyed a good serving day. Stunning change-up.
Well, which was better, the backhand or the forehand pass? Nearly knocking himself over when he hit the shot. Great camera angle, brushing up the back of the ball, and he nearly took himself out. But he's taken himself finally to break point.
Got to admire Nadal. 95% of his first serves have gone out wide, and on the break point down, he hits one of his biggest serves of the day up the tee. And again, what does that say about his maturity? Again, it's a change of spin that really causes a few problems for Nadal.
It's so rare to see Nadal make an error. I mean, I think Federer was even surprised.
And he's done it. Well, you're always a little reticent when you say Federer's not going to come out on top in a match, and at the start of the fourth, I have to say I thought it was going to be all Nadal, but again, he proves his medal and his worth and the reason why he stands atop of the game. Tennis of the highest order from Federer. It was needed, it has to be said, but he's produced it. And this match still very much alive.
Well, I'm not sure which was more impressive that last game, the finishing stroke or the fact that Federer anticipated the cross-court play, stepped up into the court. I think those are the kind of recognition points that he needs. Because Nadal is a very patterned player. He enjoys the cross-court. If you can anticipate it, you can take it away from him.
And this is the best passage of play by Federer for some time.
Mark, did you bring your, a bite to eat? Because we might be here for a while.
Again, though, he's creating some room with his shots.
Over the course of a match, both players will experience moments where their energy is high and energy is a little low, and you sense that Nadal perhaps just struggling a little bit. Obviously, it has a lot to do with what Federer is doing off his shots. And oftentimes the score has a lot to do with how you feel. If you're winning, boy, your energy level's pretty high. For a while there, Federer was behind in the score and struggling with his.
Thought he'd made it.
And there are moments when you've got that momentum, and that's the kind of shot Nadal was making when things were going his way. Instead, now it's Federer who's in command.
And we shouldn't forget that Federer was a break-up in the fourth set at the French Open last year. Got a bit disillusioned with the referee at the tournament when he felt as though the match should have been stopped because it was getting so dark. There won't be any sort of similar scenario here. But he has been getting closer and closer to Nadal. Will today perhaps be the turning point for Federer? Well, he certainly turned this match on its head at the moment. A wonderful couple of games there for Roger Federer to lead 4-1 in the fourth. So he probably got a little weight off his shoulders there in those last couple of games. Must have felt as though the world was on them in that third set, and at the start of the fourth it was a little dodgy there down break points, but suddenly Federer has shown why he holds 7 Grand Slam titles. He was down against Baghdatis in the beginning of the year, the Australian Open, a set and a breakdown, but he didn't panic. And he turned it around, and after 3.5 hours he's just a couple of games shy of taking this to a deciding set. It looked improbable at the end of the third set that this was going to be a scoreline in the fourth, given Nadal's recent history.
Yeah, that's a tough call there. The lines person just getting it wrong, immediately overruled. And Federer showed that he was upset with some of the actions here on the court. You can see him raising his hands as if to say, can someone please get a call right? also think the crowd was on him just a little bit because of some of his conversations with Romano Grillotti, the chair umpire. Of course, nothing like when Bjorn Borg played Adriano Panatta, the Italian, in the championship here in '78, and the crowd were throwing coins at Borg, who slowly picked them up and took them to the chair. Of course, Borg won that match in 5.
That's an absolute gem. And again, Nadal just not recognising it at all.
And Federer wanted to play a shorter point here. You know, he knows perhaps he's going to lose this game. Make your opponent do some running, in spite of the fact that he'll eventually win this game.
There's a backhand from the opening set. And Federer right now back with a vengeance. Couldn't complete the comeback in that game to get the juice, and Federer now stands at 4-2 in this fourth set, and it would be nice to get the comfort of a second break. Hopefully for Federer's sake it's not necessary. Yesterday he felt a little unlucky about the number of balls that now Banyan hit onto the line. Doesn't feel quite so bad when you're the one striking it.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to have to clean the lines down on that end of the court. Federer's doing the job for him.
Well, he's still allowed Nadal a look. Couldn't have wished for a better game at that stage of the match. And Roger Federer so close to levelling up this final. Federer desperate to gain a victory over his now great rival. It has to be said that Rafael Nadal, despite what Federer will say that it's not a rivalry yet because I'm not beating him, it is in everybody else's eyes, and he's got a chance the next couple of games to go head to head with Nadal in a final set.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that there has to be a little bit of revenge on his mind as well, because it was Rafael Nadal who snapped Federer's 56-match win streak on hard courts. Wouldn't there be a nice little bit of redemption if the world #1 could top Nadal here on a clay court? Boy, it would stop Nadal's run at 52, just shy of the existing record of 53 by Guillermo Vilas.
In some ways an important game. Federer spoke about it yesterday, serving first in the final set against Nalbandian. He felt as though that helped him, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind trying to break the serve to allow himself the same luxury today. Oh, that's one of his best volleys ever.
I mean, that's just... Well, Nalbandian said he was human, but after seeing that volley, I'm not so sure. I mean, that was proof that he's been touched by the gods.
And all of a sudden he's rediscovered that cross-court backhand. Federer with 3 set points. You couldn't have imagined this set to have gone any better. It. Federer wins the 4th set, and it's going to be the world #1 versus the world #2 over 1 set to decide the Rome final. Well, not surprising, nobody leaving the Foro Italico before this one finishes. Every bit as dramatic as we thought it would be. And it will be Federer to start the 5th.
right off the opening point. Nadal looking for a way to build up some energy. And that's just what he needed. A minor breakthrough on the Federer serve.
No, he hasn't hit that shot as well as he hit it in Monte Carlo, and I think again you have to say that Federer has just been a little bit more aggressive into his backhand corner. Nadal stopping the point, saying that that ball is long and there won't be any marks around at the moment, seeing as the court's just been prepared, so no trouble to find the mark. And Romano Grolotti with a big call to make early in the fifth. And Romano had a little look at that one.
Well, you have that right to challenge a call in the middle of a point. If the umpire says it's good, that call stands and you can lose the point. But Nadal had faith in what he saw.
And Federer had faith in his forehand once again. Nadal just hasn't been able to get himself a decent length off his backhand return, pretty much off either side, deuce or add. And Federer's forehand again is just from another planet.
Yeah, he has really been tidy with this, and that has some juice behind it. Look at it accelerate through the court. Well, both men so good at reading patterns of play, and Nadal anticipating that backhand. He was there a half step quicker and made a very difficult volley for Federer.
Oh, he got away with it.
Yeah, he really did, didn't he? He just finished thinking, okay, I'll just put it in the court, but you know Nadal, he'll always run for one more shot. And the lob falling short enough. And look at Nadal saying, oh, I had a chance.
Really been a telling shot this last set and a bit for Federer. That backhand once again, and Nadal having to cover him more of the court. And the world number one takes this first game of a final set of a final that now has become the longest of the year. The previous was in Monte Carlo between the same two players, 3 hours and 50 minutes then, and we've gone past that.
Well, I'm not surprised. These two are so evenly matched. And in terms of ranking points, boy, they've left a bit of space between numbers 3 to 100. course, a fair amount of space between Federer and Nadal in the rankings. Nadal's fast improving play on other surfaces will be a real consideration if he's to mount a serious challenge for number one. There's Nadal looking for Masters Series title number 6. He already has 5 Masters Series title, which puts him in pretty good company at 19 years of age. I mean, Becker had 5, Courier had 5, Gustavo Kuerten, Marcelo Rios all had 5 Masters Series title, and all of those men held the number 1 ranking.
Federer's held the number 1 ranking since the 2nd of February 2004. Total of 119 weeks consecutively at the moment, and stands 5th in that, behind Pete Sampras, 286 weeks, Lendl 270, Connors 268, and John McEnroe with 170 weeks consecutively at the top.
And Federer won't be surrendering that top rank anytime soon. Certainly winning or losing this match won't affect his status at the top of the game. And you have the feeling he's going to run out this year with the point total he has. Unless there was a dramatic drop in play or perhaps injury, but I mean, he looks like he's on his way to another year end finish at the top of the game.
So a convincing hold at the start of the final set for Nadal. It was less convincing towards the end of that 4th set, and that's just what he needed to settle his nerves. And undoubtedly he'll be having a few nerves as well. He's defending his title here.
What are we going to do to settle our nerves here? I mean, this is tough to watch. Talk about drama, back and forth affair.
Federer's record since the beginning of 2004, I mean, it is actually staggering. He's managed to win 26 titles in 38 starts.
And only 12 singles losses. That's just incredible.
I'd already had those by March.
January. No, was it good? Over the baseline. And how about this scoreline? Is this point important?
We are so used to seeing Nadal make that. You almost feel he's having an off day when he doesn't.
That was a good backhand up the line from Nadal. Federer just sneaking to his right to anticipate the cross court.
And Nadal putting Federer's serve under siege early in the fifth. And again, Federer responds to the challenge. Couple of big first serves, get him out of trouble. Nadal was knocking on the door, but he couldn't push it open. And we're on serve in the fifth. 2-1. It's been a beautiful day in Rome to grace the occasion, and there are some people that say, well, it's only the Grand Slams that matter. Well, tell Federer and Nadal that right now, when they're locked in battle. This match means the world of both of them. Nadal trying to continue his supremacy over the world number one, and Federer trying to prove to not just himself but the rest of the world that he is capable of beating Nadal on Nadal's best surface. Unanswerable tennis from Federer. And he's bossing the junior around at the moment.
And whenever Federer gets the approach shot right, that combination of pace and length, he's got some open court to volley into, and he measured that perfectly.
And you know Nadal's not going to take it lying down. Suddenly Nadal electing to go big into Federer's strongest wing.
And I think Nadal could use a bit more of that. Dictate play, push his man around a little more,
Not always easy to do that when you haven't been doing it particularly well in the course of the match, and all of a sudden when it's all on the line. But I think Federer has done a great job of taking Nadal out a little bit out of his comfort zone today. Carlos Costa there, former player and now agent.
That's a cheap point to give your opponent there. Not much behind that serve, and a fairly routine return.
Solid finish once again.
El Omar Sharif like that volley. Wasn't he Lawrence of Arabia? Is that right, Mark?
He was. Well, Roger Federer doesn't need to impersonate anybody. He's Roger Federer. Why would you want to be anyone else when you can hit shots like this?
Yeah. This is Roger of Switzerland here.
The first break point of the final set. It's out, and Federer has broken. And a quite extraordinary comeback here by Roger Federer. It's far from accomplished, but it's been riveting viewing.
Though we said at the start of this match that this was one of those tickets that you save in your sock drawer, you put it in your mirror and you say, I was there when Federer and Nadal squared off in Rome. And boy, this has delivered. What a match.
And the crowd so appreciative of the effort and the endeavour that Federer has put into this match, right behind him. And he keeps getting better and better.
You know, about an hour ago, Mark, we were saying that Federer looked a bit listless. He was struggling, looking discouraged, and suddenly the magic is back. The feel, the energy to take the ball early and see the options and pick the right one. The genius has returned. Just not quite there for Nadal at the moment.
And one wonders whether the weight of expectation in terms of all the talk around Guillermo Vilas's record is just getting to him in this final set. Tragedy. He's been involved in a few big occasions himself in Davis Cup over the years, and here in Rome, a former winner here. He's come back from the brink before in finals of Masters Series. We saw it here last year against Coria. Maybe that's where Nadal's drawing his inspiration from. It is long, and Federer wants it checked.
Don't that alla palla, cazzo. Just a second. Just a second. No. It's this one. This is the ball, and he's out. What's clearly out? Roger, I leave the mark because it was clearly out from the chair, believe me. It was out before.
Well, I think Federer just a little frustrated that Romano Grolotti couldn't find the mark straight away, but to be fair, and you can see the replay by Hawkeye, that ball long, and all of a sudden this final set again could have a different complexion. That was some return, wasn't it?
Well, Nadal is so good at making you play, and he managed to get the ball back into play, and you could feel the tension as Federer produced one of his best forehands cross court. Played through the pressure so beautifully. Back to the safe haven of deuce.
His fortunes today have been decided by that one particular shot, the forehand, and the pressure telling on Federer.
You know, 9 out of 10 times he would go the other way, but he was thinking about his opponent, tried to pull it away from the forehand.
Such character under pressure.
The life of a tennis coach.
The courage and conviction to do what's right in the most intense situations and execute it to perfection.
Well, that backhand, the telling shot, quickly recognizing the forehand. No mistakes on that finish.
That's long. Federer hangs on to his service game. He consolidates the break. And Rafael Nadal right up against it. 1-4. We found out a lot about Roger Federer today. We've found out a lot about him over these last 3 years, what he's made of, but perhaps this will be one of his greatest victories ever. One of his most satisfying, I'm sure.
Well, after the second set and then after the third, I mean, you felt that he was looking for the next Swiss Air flight to Hamburg. I mean, he was that far down, almost disconsolate. Somehow he has hauled himself back against one of the most determined competitors in the world. I mean, this has been a battle of wills. And right now the edge is to Federer.
And now it's Nadal's turn to try and use the crowd, and he's getting himself pumped up.
Now, I love this about Nadal. I mean, this has a little bit of that Jimmy Connors about him. That willingness to show the passion, bring the crowd into everything he's doing, share it with them.
Perhaps the run of 3 games for Federer taken a lot out of him. Remember, he was taking a juice in his opening couple of service games in this set, and then having to save break points in his last service game as well. So Nadal's been knocking on the door. Now this set far from over, and Tony Nadal knows that.
Yeah, that's a statement game right there from the Spaniard. And you can see he's making himself move, build up the passion. We didn't see much of this in that fourth set when Federer was pushing him around, but he's trying to draw a line in the clay. The run stops here.
And a big point for Nadal. An enviable situation in many ways for Federer, because there is so much pressure and tension, and yet he has to be the shot maker, the aggressor. It's been Federer's day in terms of those types of points. He's got away with a couple. and he's probably deserved his luck as well.
Yeah, well, Nadal had a couple of swings there, but just couldn't do enough. Still some work to do for Federer. Oh, an ace right down the tee.
Just had to get it over the net. Sounds easy, and he made it look easy. But it was the forehand again that did the damage.
Well, Nadal took a chance by running around the backhand. It opened up the court. And the world number one wisely attacking into that space. He knows how much that point means. Here's a point for 5-2.
It was never going to be that easy, was it? He would have loved it to have been, but Nadal responds. Well, you can only marvel at his resilience. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, suddenly he's the aggressor. Can Federer keep surviving on his own serve? He can't, not this time anyway, and Rafael Nadal is right back into this final set. It's incredible. You just cannot write off either man.
Well, what a sensational turnaround by Nadal. Federer had a point to get to 5-2, but Nadal just willed himself back, didn't he? Somehow able to dig so deep and find something. And he always plays with an element of safety with the spin, so just adding a little more sting, still so effective.
And that was the difference. I mean, he was staying back a little bit, expecting Federer to miss, which he did on the first couple of points, but then suddenly at 40-30, as you say, Leif, added a little bit more sting, venom to his forehand, which created the moment for him to get the break back. And again, you just have to love his attitude on the court.
Now, it's a family affair, isn't it? For a long time, he was induced to come to Barcelona and train with the top Spanish players, even as a very young player. And he said, no, I'm going to stay right here in Mallorca with my family. A couple of players that he trains with there. So very comfortable in his own way getting this work done, and he's ended up in a remarkable place.
Yeah, still in the same apartment building and everything, and It's worked for him. It's worked beautifully, and he's also a real asset for the tour. And the crowd here at the Foro Italico loving every moment of this. Nadal at 3-4, final set.
Well, it had to be a strong backhand to find an error on the Nadal forehand. They are on the edge of their seats.
His fourth ace. And then it's a match where you've come to expect the unexpected. Almost 4 hours and 30 minutes.
Well, he knows the importance of that break of serve. Proved. Phenomenal forehands from Nadal. Both these guys just going toe-to-toe. So Federer didn't mean the backhand to be. Nadal makes. The Federer backhand holds up. The chance was there. Second championship point. He's made it. Brilliant. Courageous tactics from Federer. Brilliant. Wild forehand from
Nadal. Down, Nadal seemingly in position, loses a forehand.
He's done it. His 5th victory in 6 meetings with the world #1. Tears of joy for the undoubted king of clay.